Welcome to the deep dive. You're here because you're curious, right? You want to understand things, get those aha moments, but without wading through tons of text.
Exactly. And today, we're applying that to something maybe unexpected. The Art of Stick Fighting, a comprehensive self-study guide by Christopher Fernandez.
Yeah, it sounds specific, but we've got these excerpts. They cover the history, getting ready, the basic moves, forms, even partner routines, and the core ideas.
It's surprisingly comprehensive, actually.
So our mission, well, it's simple, really. We're going to pull out the most fascinating, the most useful bits from this guide.
Kind of give you a shortcut to understanding stick fighting without it feeling like, a textbook.
Right. And trust us, there's a lot more depth here than you might think just looking at a stick. Okay, let's jump in.
So right off the bat, what's really striking is just how old and universal this idea is. Using a stick for defense.
Totally. I mean, the guy talks about Paleolithic times. A stick is just, it's there, an extension of your hand.
It makes so much sense. It wasn't some fancy invention, just humans using what's around. Stones, bones, branches, and sticks.
Natural tool, natural weapon. It really grounds it, doesn't it? This isn't some modern fad.
Not at all.
Mm.
And it goes beyond just basic survival. The symbolic side is fascinating, too.
Oh, yeah, the guide mentions that, like royalty with scepters.
Exactly. And orchestra conductors, shepherds with their crooks, ringmasters, it's the same object, but used for authority or guidance or art.
It's kind of wild how one simple thing holds all that meaning across different cultures. Why the stick, you wonder?
Good question. The guide points to examples like ancient Greece pancration used sticks sometimes, and medieval England.
The quarterstaff, right.
Yeah, so it popped up independently or spread really widely. It seems to just resonate as an extension of human will.
Control, creation, conflict. Yeah, I can see that.
And then the guide zooms in on India, which is a big focus. You get these local names, Lathi in Maharashtra.
Talakti in Gujarat shows how deeply rooted it was regionally, like local dialects of fighting.
And it touches on how British rule impacted these arts. Put a damper on them, it seems.
Yeah, a familiar story for many traditional practices, unfortunately.
But there's this note of hope. The author hopes for a comeback in India and notes how it's spread globally now.
So these arts can find new life elsewhere. Interesting. Okay, so that's the history, the context. But how do you actually learn this?
Well, the guide is super clear on this. It's 90% practice
90%, huh?
and only 10% knowledge.
Yeah.
Reading helps, but you got to do the reps, put in the time.
Makes sense for anything physical, really. But then it goes into some areas you might not expect, like positive and negative forces, yang and yin.
Right, it takes this holistic view. It's not just about hitting hard.
Okay, so how does yang and yin apply to, holding a stick? Sounds a bit abstract.
Think of it like balance. Yang could be the forceful attack, the outward energy. Yin might be yielding, absorbing the defensive side. You need both.
Ah, okay. Like offense and defense needing to work together, not just brute strength.
Exactly. Internal harmony, they call it. And it connects to emotions, too.
This was really interesting. The guide talks about ancient beliefs, how emotions like joy, anger, worry supposedly affect specific organs.
Yeah, it's this old wisdom about the mind-body connection. Maybe not how we'd explain it scientifically now, but the core idea that our feelings impact our physical state. That holds up.
Definitely. It means martial arts isn't just kicks and punches or stick strikes. It's mental discipline, too.
For sure. So, take anger. If you're angry in a fight, what happens?
You get sloppy, predictable, leave openings.
Probably. You're not thinking clearly. Patience, though, that lets
Yeah.
you wait, observe, act strategically. They even mention the story of Eclavia,
Right, the archer. Incredible dedication.
a symbol of patience and learning. And also talks about fear, not about not feeling fear, because that's natural.
But about managing it, acting despite it.
Precisely. And they offer actual practices for this, like Sinhasana, the lion posture.
And Tretek, staring at a candle flame.
Yeah, for focus, for calming that inner turmoil. And this concept, Viprit Pav,
Which is?
consciously choosing the opposite feeling. Feel angry, actively cultivate calm. It's like mental counter-programming.
Wow. Okay, so mental and emotional prep is huge. Then it shifts to the physical stuff we might expect more, like balance and coordination.
Which are absolutely crucial, obviously. The guide talks about the cerebellum, how it integrates signals from your eyes, inner ear, sense of touch.
The body's control center for movement.
Pretty much. And to develop it, they suggest yoga poses. Mayurasana, the peacock pose. Natwarasana, dancer pose.
Interesting link to yoga there. Shows overlap in disciplines focused on body control.
Definitely. And finally, there's conditioning.
Yeah.
It separates flexibility exercises
Like for wrists, shoulders, back, even partner stretches.
from strengthening exercises,
Yeah.
using ropes, tires, jumping over the stick, building that raw physical foundation.
Right. So you need the mental calm, the emotional control, the balance, coordination, flexibility, and strength
Yeah.
just to get ready to learn the techniques.
That's a whole package.
Yep.
Okay, so now you're prepared. Let's talk about the stick itself, the basics.
Elementary stick fighting. Where do you start?
Know your tool. The guide points out the ends, the base or butt end, and the apex, the tip. Simple but fundamental.
Got it. Base and apex. And the grip. That must be key.
Absolutely vital. A firm grip is stressed. Without it, you lose control. The strike loses power.
Makes sense. Then the actual hits.
The basic strikes, think of them as the alphabet. You've got the basic grip strike, overhead strike, side flick, thrust,
Okay.
recoil poke, vertical chop, scooping the groin, upper inward strike. Each one is a distinct movement pattern.
I can sort of picture those. Overhead, side, straight in. Okay. But it's not just striking, is it? There were rotations.
Right. The flower twirl, done with hands near the base,
Yeah.
apparently 2 ways to do that,
Yeah.
and the figure of 8 twirl with hands centered.
Are those just for show?
Not really, no. They build coordination, wrist flexibility, control. They help you handle the stick smoothly, transition between moves. They're foundational skill.
Okay. So you learn the strikes, the twirls.
Yeah.
What's next? The guide mentions forms. Gunshoe.
Ah, yes, the forms. Called the heart and soul of Kung Fu Wushu in the guide.
Heart and soul. So more than just a dance routine.
Oh, much more. Think of them like pre-choreographed sequences that string together all the basic techniques. They build muscle memory, flow, timing.
So you're not just learning isolated moves, but how to connect them.
Exactly. And there are key things to focus on when learning them. Mental focus, obviously, doing the moves correctly, rhythm, speed, coordination, even knowing your space, the arena dimensions.
The guide lists 4 routines. Routine I has, what, 20 movements?
Yeah, 20. Starts with a ready position, then things like uppercut palm and push stick. You can see from the names, it's linking hand techniques with stick movements, different
It
stances.
sounds quite involved, building a foundation.
Definitely. Routine 2 is shorter, 5 moves, but includes a beat step and whirlwind kick.
A kick. With the stick?
Well, integrated into the sequence. Shows more dynamic movement. Routine 3, 7 moves, has a poke stick and back twist stance using body torque.
Generating power differently.
Right. And routine the 4, 13 moves, includes a jump and drop into reclining stance and swing stick and slam on ground.
Whoa, okay, so they get progressively more complex, dynamic, acrobatic even?
That seems to be the idea. Ingraining techniques until they're automatic. Like practicing scales before playing music, like you said.
Right. Okay, so that's solo practice. But then there's the 2-man form, Taloi Shang, Song of Thundering Stick. That sounds intense.
It is. It's a partnered routine. Requires serious coordination, concentration, timing with another person.
Like a dialogue with sticks.
A very fast, potentially painful dialogue. It has 4 verses and a chorus structure. Starts with a formal bow. Respect.
And then chorus 1?
Attacks and defenses. Attack to both temples, rising and lowering attack. Immediate interaction.
You have to anticipate your partner, chorus 2.
More back and forth. Defending both sides of the temple, then attacking both knees. Call and response almost.
Then the verses sound like they get more intricate. First verse mentions a penetrating attack and a neck lock.
Yeah, moving maybe closer, more grappling-like elements alongside the stick work.
Second verse, rotating the stick and trying to trap it. Wrist lock. So controlling the opponent's weapon or their body.
Exactly. Manipulation, control. Third verse brings in a whirlwind kick again and a flower twirl and waist lock, combining dynamic moves with locks.
Seems very complex. Fourth verse.
Trapping and retrieving the stick, disarming and scooping the groin, ending with decisive, potentially injurious techniques.
It really paints a picture of needing incredible timing and trust with your partner.
Absolutely. It tests everything you learned in solo forms, but in a live, interactive way. Okay, so we've covered history, prep, techniques, solo forms, partner forms. What's the underlying philosophy, the core concept?
Yeah, what ties it all together?
The guide keeps coming back to one central idea.
Yeah.
The stick is just an extension of your hands.
Ah, right. Like a finger job becomes a thrust.
Exactly. Or a hammer fist strike becomes an overhead blow with the stick. You're using the tool to amplify your natural body mechanics.
Makes it feel less alien, more intuitive maybe. Then it gets surprisingly technical with anatomy.
Yeah, it lists the 206 bones, then highlights specific striking zones. Nasian, Parvinarian, lambda on the head.
Technical terms for vulnerable spots, basically.
Pretty much. Deltoid tuberosity on the arm, sternoclavicular joint, last rib, points on the leg. It's showing a very practical, targeted approach.
And building on that, it lists specific weak points. Eyes, throat, base of skull, armpit.
Inside of the arm, thumb, solar plexus, kidneys, bladder area, tailbone, inside thigh, toes, and it mentions the potential effects of strikes there.
It's quite sobering. A reminder this is a martial art designed to be effective, which means potentially dangerous.
Definitely requires respect and control. Then it shifts to strategy, distraction, and feinting.
Using deception, it quotes Sun Tzu or similar ancient wisdom.
Yeah, like about warfare being based on deception. It gives an example of a double feint, a fake high, fake low, then hit the opening.
Classic tactic. Outthinking the opponent, not just overpowering them.
Crucial. And it also mentions trapping and locking. Not just hitting, but controlling. Wrist locks, for example. Lethal potential, it notes.
So it blends striking with elements of grappling or control. And how do you get good at all this in real time? Drills.
Lots of drills. Hitting a punching bag for power and repetition, footwork drills for agility, partner reflex exercises.
Even picking up a drop stick quickly. Very practical point.
And finally, sparring. Putting it all together, it mentions prearranged sparring.
Where you know what's coming, practicing specific counters.
And free sparring, which is more unpredictable, closer to a real encounter. With safety guidelines, of course. Control is key.
Wow. Okay. We really have covered a lot, from ancient history to specific nerve points and sparring tactics.
It's quite the journey, isn't it, for something that starts as just a piece of wood?
Definitely had some aha moments myself. The depth is surprising. The blend of physical, mental, emotional.
Yeah, you see the history, the intense preparation needed, the layers of technique and the forms, the complexity of partner work, the strategy.
Yeah.
It's a whole system.
And hopefully for everyone listening, this deep dive hasn't just been about stick fighting itself, but maybe spark some thoughts about, I don't know, human history, mind-body connections, strategy in general.
Yeah, the principles can apply elsewhere. Which leads us to a final thought to leave you with.
Go for it.
Okay, so think about the stick. Humble origins, right? It's a simple tool. But it evolved into this sophisticated martial art, practiced all over the world.
Right.
So the question is, what other simple, everyday objects around us might hold similar hidden depth? What other unassuming things might have layers of knowledge or application just waiting for us to, well, dive into?
Makes you look at things a bit differently. A great thought to end on.